Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Chatot. So now that we're getting deeper into the Sinnoh decks, we're kind of in the middle, so we're not going to see the craziest Pokemon sometimes. Now, I'm not saying Chatot is bad, but when you look at the stats, it's another example of one of those Pokemon where 90 is its highest base stat. So we have 92 on the special attack, 91 on the speed, and that's kind of it. So it's not the worst possible. I mean, we have some outspeed potential, and also with the 92 special attack, it is better than some other Pokemon that we have seen. Now, when we look at some of its other stats, though, 42 on defenses means you're not surviving anything in a lot of situations. That if the Pokemon is supposed to be a sweeper, it's supposed to be a powerful, hard-hitting Pokemon, Chatot doesn't stand a chance, and with the 65 attack, why are we even talking about 65 attack when we have a 92 special attack? Look at its typing. It's a normal flying typing, so your generic bird flying normal combination of typings, and that just pretty much means you lose your fighting weakness, but then you gain rock, ice, and electric from your flying, but that also makes it to where you're immune to ground, ghost, and you have resistances to bug and grass. But then again, Chatot's super frail, so it really doesn't matter. Now let's hop into Pokemon Showdown, where we actually get to talk about some really interesting things about Chatot. That Chatot is the strongest Pokemon that can learn Boom Burst, which is one of the strongest moves in the game. Yeah, trivia. Come on guys, I'm reviewing Chatot, this is all I've got. Yeah, if we look at another Pokemon like Exploud, Exploud is the second strongest Boom Burst Pokemon, and it only has 91 special attack. So that 92 special attack making Chatot a bit unique that it can have the stronger Boom Burst, and what makes Boom Burst so strong is it's a 140 base power move with no drawbacks. So imagine Hyper Beam if you get to use it every turn. But only 5 Pokemon get Boom Burst. Whoa, more trivia, right? And after that, we can just kind of see that with Chatot and Exploud, they're the only ones to get Stab except for Swellow, but Swellow doesn't have a good special attack. So really, Chatot, if you want to use Boom Burst, it is going to be your premier Boom Burst Pokemon. Didn't you read the tags or see the first couple seconds of the video? As for Chatot movesets, it's going to be personality based, I feel, like that whatever you want to put with your Chatot, however you want to run it, because there are a couple of different ways, but when we look at it, Nastyplot in Substitute is going to be one of the more common ones. The idea is you bring in Chatot, you use that Substitute, you set up Nastyplot, and if the opponent's going for status or if they make a switch, you might be able to get a very, very powerful Boom Burst. Now this is resisted by Steel types, Rock types, and immune by Ghost type Pokemon, but if they don't have those Pokemon, you're playing Chatot, like if you play around the Chatot, you can actually get some success out of this. You know, you remove some of their quicker Pokemon, some of their harder hitting threats, some of the Pokemon that resist you, and then Chatot might be able to come in later in the game, or get that like cheesy kill early in the game, and then really make it work out with that Boom Burst for the huge damage. Chatot also has the Keen Eye ability, which I feel is very underrated. It ignores evasion stat. So if your opponent's trying to spam double team, trying to spam evasion in some kind of way, that means you just come in with the Boom Burst if it isn't a Ghost type Pokemon, and that you can like set up a Nastyplot. If they don't expect the Keen Eye, they might try to waste a turn using Minimize, waste a turn using double team. You get the Nastyplot, you Boom Burst it, and then you win. As for the item, I just like the idea of a Quick Claw here. Now you can put a Life Orb if you just want to try to keep getting out the damage, but overall with the Quick Claw, since you aren't the fastest Pokemon, it might make the difference between knocking out a sweeper and getting knocked out by a sweeper. That you have your Substitute set up, or that you just need one Boom Burst to finish off your opponent. You still have a very, very high amount of damage. Let's take a look at Talonflame really quick. So Talonflame, remember, this Pokemon only has 81 base attack, and then when it's going and like getting an Adamant Nature and using its Brave Bird, it's doing a lot of damage. Chatot is going to be comparable damage because Boom Burst has higher base power, and you're using a higher stat. Now if you're timid, the numbers get messed up, but Chatot does pack a very surprising amount of power, so you can easily 2-hit KO Pokemon that are neutral. So if there's already Stealth Rocks in play, or someone's already taken a little bit of damage, Chatot can come in, you might get the Quick Claw, 1 in 5 chance to win the game, only because you had Quick Claw, or something cheesy like that, I don't know. On that, you might be able to see the Life Orb, that way you get more damage, since you're just going like Substitute, Nastyplot into Boom Burst. Trying to secure as much damage as possible might also give you that little extra edge against Pokemon that are resisting you, and that can be very powerful. And then we have Chatter. Now Chatter makes Chatot a complete troll Pokemon, because this is a damaging move with a 100% chance to confuse the target. That's actually really awesome right there. So you might be able to just lead with some shenanigans. You know, you go Substitute on their status, you Chatter them, and now they're confused. If they hit themselves, that's a free Nastyplot. Then you go into Boom Burst, and that could be some seriousness right there. Also, Chatter Boom Burst damage synergy, it's kind of like a fake out last resort with Ambipom, that there's enough damage between Chatter and Boom Burst to score KO. So Chatter, they hit themselves, Boom Burst, KOs. Now, what else we can do on Chatot is we can keep out the shenanigans with all the Nastyplot and Substitute, and that means we have access to Focus Sash. So that means this Chatter Boom Burst combo is going to be a lot more powerful because they hit you, you survive the hit because of Focus Sash, Chatter confuses them, they can hit themselves, and then Boom Burst for the secure damage. And if you're just outspeeding them, Chatter, survive, Boom Burst, Boom Burst, Boom Burst. There's all sorts of weird things you can do. And by doing so, you also get access to Heat Wave. This is going to make it to where you're not completely walled out by Ghost-type Pokemon, and you get to hit Steel-type Pokemon just a bit. Some things you can do to get over your speed is use Agility. That you use Agility, Focus Sash procs. Now you're faster than your opponent, which means you actually get to run the Modest Nature, so you squeeze out a bit more damage, which is always a very nice thing. And that's kind of the same idea, that you either go for the Boom Burst for the overwhelming damage if they are weakened enough, or you just try to set up the Chatter into Boom Burst combo. So now your rotation is Agility, Focus Sash, you survive, then you throw out the Chatter, they hit themselves, Boom Burst, and then you Boom Burst, and now Chatot suddenly became a +1 Pokemon that has an advantage and gets a little bit of extra damage across the team, and it can do some little bits of hits right there. So this is what I mean by Chatot playing differently for different people, that if you have that trickery, that you have experience with Substitutes, so you know what to look for in your opponent to just kind of set up a surprise Substitute, and then go for setup and win from there, that can work out really well. Chatot also going to be a very strong Pokemon behind a Sticky Web. If you're going to be using it behind a Sticky Web, that's when maybe you can consider like a Choice Specs or something. You just Choice Specs Boom Burst, highest Choice Specs Boom Burst in the game. You just try not to die, and since you're going to be invested pretty well in the speed, and there's going to be a Sticky Web on the field, you just kind of go for the outspeeds and win, and then that means you won't want Agility. You can go for something like... Actually, there's not really too many other moves left that you could use, like a Hidden Power Ice, or maybe, yeah, Hidden Power Ice would be pretty solid in this situation. So you round it out with Hidden Power Ice, and then you just come in for the coverage, and you try to go for the outspeeds that are there. If you're not running Sticky Web, you just kind of wait until your opponent has slower Pokemon on the field, and then if your opponent doesn't want to deal with that, if you can find like a really good opportunity to come in, your opponent either switches out their slower Pokemon that's going to get blown up and takes free damage, or you can maybe get that setup that we talked about earlier. In double battles, Chatot can be pretty cool. It gets access to Chatter, it gets access to Encore, you can use Tailwind. So in double battles, you might want just to like Focus Sash. So Focus Sash, set up Tailwind, then after that you can go for Chatter to confuse one of your opponent's powerful Pokemon, or Encore to lock in some kind of setup that they were going for. Other than that, you have Boom Burst for damage, and I think that's all there is really to Chatot. Now, I might have missed a couple things, but overall, you know, it's just going to be your playstyle matching the Boom Bursting Pokemon, and then you win. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. That's how I use Chatot, and I hope you guys have a nice day.